July 17th, 1983, 4:55 a.m. A boy arrived into this world, and his daddy picks out of the blue the name Diego. He became immediately that special boy, special brother, special grandson, cousin, and nephew. He touched us all, and he touched all. He was the only grandchild on his paternal side that was allowed to open the drawers to touch everything that was inside. He opened my mom's drawers and messed everything up, to the point that as soon as she knew that he was coming for a visit, she locked them. But if she was caught off guard, he went upstairs and opened the dresser like in a mission. He opened the drawers, and in a very frenetic way that probably many of you have seen, he grabbed all the jewelry and shiny things and tossed them around with an excitement that I was really concerned that he was going to have an attack. 2 years ago, I saw Adrian Luis doing exactly the same thing. Diego wasn't a quiet kid, and he was always running around and loved making noise. Sounds familiar. Anything that got into his hands, he used as drumsticks against anything that was around, a table, a book, a toy. But he wasn't precisely Ringo Starr, so what came out of it was noise. In a 5th grade PTA, when he was 10, 11 years old, the teacher read anonymous answers from her students to the question, "What do your parents complain about you?" The teacher wanted the parents to guess what note belonged to your child. After reading a bunch of notes, she goes, "That I make too much noise." His dad and I looked at each other and said, "That's Diego's note." Diego was raised with the most important value of all. Family is the compass, and he lived by that standard. Diego loved to be with his brother David and his sisters Alejandra and Camila at all times, and they formed a kinship that will never die. Due to family circumstances and age difference, the most special bonding and communion was created between Diego and Alejandra. It had no parallel in this world. He became his protector when she was born. He was 3. The connection, empathy, closeness they have had for 32 years since Alejandra was born was immeasurable. Every morning, Diego, while getting Peyton and Adrian Luis ready for school, he called her on the phone, Snapchat, to offer the kids a tia, aunt, good morning and a good day. He sent her daily audio text videos of the kids' whereabouts from his truck, at the school, or from the police car. It was a bonding that you could only comprehend when valuing, appreciating, respecting, and loving both of them. We traveled a lot together, and we lived and relived on each trip many past memories and created new ones. My kids were my marathon's companions because they loved to be together, and the list grew as we have grandkids, and Shelley joined us in some of those. We already had scheduled and booked a trip to Tokyo on February 2019. Diego's brother David and Alejandra and myself were going to run the Tokyo Marathon. I tried to convince him to run it. He said, heck no. I will be the Sherpa and the sushi eater. Because he was a very fast guy, he hated running, since his truck sticker 0.0. I know that I don't have to explain to any of you what family meant to Diego, because all of you were members of one of the families he had. Family was not just his direct family, but also those that touched his life. How come each of his friends were one of his best friends? The answer is simple. He had a collection of best friends because he was the best of the friends. He adored his beloved Venezuela, and he didn't leave it behind when we immigrated to the United States in 1999. He was 16 years old, ready for junior high. He carried the Venezuelan flag at home, in his truck, in his heart, and he shared that love with Peyton and Adrian Luis. His spirituality came from the teachings of his childhood and youth school and patron saint, Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Loyola's moral principles and motto were to love and to serve in all things, en todo amar y servir. As he had been at St. Ignatius School since he was 5 years old, I promised him that he would go back to Venezuela for his senior year to graduate with his lifetime frames from Loyola Caracas, class of 2001. And as devoted he was to Loyola, he was devoted to the Wazoo Cougs, the Seattle Seahawks, the Sounders, the Mariners, and La Vino Tinto, Venezuela national soccer team. I am certain that the tragedy of November 29, 2009, when 4 Lakewood police officers were killed preparing for their workday, was the final element for Diego to be a Leo. The day of the memorial for Sergeant Mark Renninger, officers Tina Griswold, Ronald Owens, and Greg Richards, Diego arrived before 9 a.m. at the Tacoma Dome, where the memorial was held. He followed the 10-mile procession through the screens, and when the memorial was over, about 9 hours later, Diego left the Tacoma Dome, marked forever. Diego, Peyton, Alejandra, and I visited Washington, D.C. in 2016, and the only monument he wanted to visit was the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial for the fallen in line of duty. With solemn courage, Diego wrote the names of Washington State police officers with pencil on paper. Last thing I could imagine is that his name, his beautiful name, Diego, given 35 years ago out of the blue, will be carved on those walls for the blue. He was noble, extremely sensitive, with a heart of gold. Being the first to help others was his trait, and all of you witnessed that by yourselves. The bar, he said, was very high. Probably all of you, as myself, are saying that our hearts are shattered, broken to pieces. But this may be further from the truth. A broken vessel doesn't hold, but the heart holds all the love that he gave us, and it was infinite. I feel it. It is here. The heart is the size of a fist, they say, and in this small space, we hold all that Diego was and all that Diego will always be, what he represented and what will always represent. It has no measure. Diego and I had a personal secret, 4 words with the acronym PFHR. We saw them on graffiti in a beautiful house close to our home in Caracas when he was about 8 years old. He loved the words. Though they didn't make any sense, nor we could figure out what it could have meant for the graffitist, we gave them our own meaning and made them our secret. It was our signature in our cards, letters, or communications. 2 months ago, I created a new iMessage account with an email that he didn't know. I texted, "Hello?" He responded, "Who is this?" I said, "Mom." He said, "What does PFHR mean?" Among the outpour of support that had given us so much peace and comfort, there was a particular that captured my attention. It came from a Kent Police Department colleague, Adam, if I am not mistaken. "We lost a legend," he wrote, "a legend. We came to this country 19 years ago, a very small family where the number of members could have been counted with only one hand. Today, the size of the family that Diego built in this country he loved so much, is incalculable. To Mark, we love you. As Diego's stepdad, my adorable husband Randy told you in the hospital, you are our family now. We have adopted you. Our home is your home." Something that most of you do not know. Today, July 31st, is a day that Diego has commemorated since he was in preschool. July 31st is St. Ignatius of Loyola Day, the anniversary of Loyola's death. Diego's memorial is happening on the day of his spiritual guide, whose teachings he followed till his final breath, to love and to serve in all things, en todo amar y servir. 2 lines from my favorite poem of all times, Rudyard Kipling's If. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of the final distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. July 17th, 1983, 4:55 a.m., a boy arrived into this world. July 22nd, 2018, 2:25 a.m., a man departed from this world. 1,104,960,600 seconds. Diego filled each minute of his life with that billion of seconds worth of the final distance run. He was a man, he's a legend, he's a hero, he's my son. I don't want to brag. I tried to do my best, and honestly, it was the very best. God bless you, my son Diego. I love you forever. PFHR, Mom.